What's going on, guys? We are back. It's been so long since we've talked to you. I missed you guys. I missed all of you. I missed you, Loyalist. I missed you so much.
Okay, a little awkward here.
All right, guys. The Chicago Bears have traded the number one overall draft pick for the 2023 season to the Carolina Panthers. What did they get? Well, the Panthers gave him DJ Moore because, Bears needed a wide receiver. They gave him the number 9 pick, the number 61 pick for this year. So that's a first and a second. And then next year's first, and then 2025 second. So they effectively gave them 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and a wide receiver for the number 1 overall. Holy crap! What was your reaction first time you saw this, Loyalist?
At first, I was just like, okay, because I'll be honest, guys, I was like, I don't know that Chicago want to trade down that far, because I didn't think Panthers would want to give up that much, you know what I mean? But I knew that was an option. But to me, I just like, congratulations to both of those teams. I am glad the Colts did not sit there and have to give up all that to get to number 1. I get it. There's a lot of people that were on board with, and the funny thing is, those are the same people. They were, oh yeah, I would have given up all that to move up to 1, but then they'd have been complaining the next draft and the next draft about not having those assets. Me personally, you know what? I get it. Frank Reich's trying to make a splash like Panthers and trying to rewrite his narrative as, being the quarterback whisperer. And now he's got himself a young, shiny tool, assuming they pick a quarterback, which I can't imagine them not. But the thing is it just doesn't change a whole lot. One less guy on the board, I get that. But I just, the shock of it was just like, wow, that's a lot. But now the second part of it is like, whew, I'm glad we didn't do it. So it was sort of a mixed review for me.
Yeah, first emotion for me, I saw that haul and I was like, if that was the Colts, you flip DJ Moore, because that would have to end up being Michael Pittman Jr.
Mm-hmm.
We would have to give up Michael Pittman Jr., the number 4 overall pick, our second round pick, next year's first round pick, and then 2025 second round pick. There's no way on God's green earth I'd be happy with that trade.
Mm-hmm.
No way. If we were doing that next year for a certain Caleb Williams, that'd be a different story because he's got his floor and ceiling is higher, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the situation of any of the guys in this draft. Whereas in this draft, you got 3-4 guys where, they're pretty much equal in terms of overall talent, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a situation. Then I think about a little bit more, okay, so the Carolina undoubtedly using that draft. They did not use that draft pick to go get a defensive lineman. They're going to go get a quarterback. All right. The Texans could surprise. They could get a defensive lineman. They sure as hell need one, but they'll probably get a quarterback.
Yeah.
Now I look down to the Cardinals. A lot of people think, well, the Cardinals, that number 3 is worth a whole lot. The Cardinals need a defensive lineman more than anything, and they got choice now.
Yeah. And right? they don't have a lot of money to be paying a lot of draft people.
No, I do not see the Arizona Cardinals trading at all. I think they're going to grab their pass rusher this year on the number 3 pick, and the Indianapolis Colts will have a selection of the 3rd quarterback, maybe the 2nd quarterback, but most likely the 3rd quarterback picked in this draft. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
With Shane Steichen and the offensive coordinator and Jim Bob, I feel like they can work with just about any type of quarterback there is. And like I said, those 4 guys, their talent levels are about equal. Some do better than others in other situations and things of that nature, but talent-wise, about equal there. So I'm okay with Ballard not going, here's our entire future for a coin flip.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm sitting at.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I did want to pull this up because he says Frank Reich was the OC for the rookie number one pick for Carson Wentz, and I get that. But let's be honest: being an offensive coordinator that does not call the plays that year with Wentz versus being the head coach, it's a very large difference. And the thing is I don't want to compare those two together. You know what I mean? Because night and day as far as you're comparing apples and oranges type of thing. But yeah, I mean, you know, giving up that much capital, giving up that much future to a team that, you know, we've said, you know, you fill some holes this year, you get the quarterback solved, you know, and you can, you know, put enough pieces around them. And that's what all this offseason to this point and the coaching hires and stuff has all been. I mean, okay, I don't want to say all, but the majority of it, you can see where it was quarterback centric. You know what I mean? You got guys who have been around and communicated and helped develop some of these young quarterbacks. You know, Jim Bob Cooter sitting there having his experience with Trevor Lawrence. You've got Shane Steichen, who, you know, had Herbert, and then he had, oh my gosh, give me a minute. Anyhow, Eagles quarterback. I hate when I draw a blank. Shame on me. Jalen Hurts. There we go. Daggone it. Old brain. Sorry, guys. You know, these, you know what? You get so many, talking about so many of them. It's just, I'm old. All right. But my point is and the thing is, you know, everybody's sitting there acting like Levis is trash. I don't agree with that. Levis is a project. You know, it's somebody that you put the right pieces around. He's got a cannon of arm. He's physically gifted. He's big, strong dude. You know, AR-15, you can say the same. He's just athletically freakish, you know what I mean? And guys, we're acting like all this is, you know, because like we've already lost the only possible chance. We don't even know if CJ Stroud is on these guys' radar. You know what I mean? I understand that CJ Stroud is a lot of your guys' favorite, as he was mine, but that doesn't make him, you know, Frank Reich and the Panthers organization's favorite. I've already discussed in the I almost said last week in the last video. I don't see that CJ Stroud would sign with the Texans at all. So I don't even see that as being an obstacle. You just discussed the number 3 pick. So now you're looking at one option, Bryce Young, probably for the Texans, that for me wasn't even a guy. I mean, if he was the only guy left at 4, yeah, I'll take him and root for him. But I'd be rooting for him like this, you know, making sure every time he got hit. But it's just, there is so much talent, raw talent that needs to be developed and nurtured. But these guys all have their strengths and weaknesses. And the thing is I trust in Ballard and, you know, Steichen and the guys that they've brought in here, you know, to sit there and really help get these guys the best opportunity to succeed. And to be honest, that's all you can do with these guys, because you said, Lawrence, we don't know. All 4 of these guys could be a bust. All 4 of these guys could turn out to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. You just don't know. It's yes, you have to sit there and draft them on their traits and on their hopes and stuff, but there is no way that you can sit there and tell me that Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson or Will Levis or Hendon Hooker, none of those guys are a guarantee in this league. We've seen it too many times. I mean, you know, Andrew Luck came in here, one of the most proven, but did we get what we wanted out of that, you know, tenure? No. You know, there's a lot of things you've got to overcome to be successful in this league. All I'm saying is give me a big, strong dude, plug him in, whether it's Stroud, Levis, AR-15, and just build them, give them all the tools they need for the best opportunity for success.
So here's the situation a lot of people are scared of, okay, as Colts fans. What if by the time the Colts pick, by some weird chance, all the guys that Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen would have wanted are gone? What then? You know, oh my God, the whole Colts organization is now complete crumble rubble. There's nothing that'll happen. We're trashed for the next 15 years. Oh my goodness. That's what a lot of people are going through and saying right now. And it's not the case. If you're sitting at number 4 and your top guys are gone and you're not 100% sure on what's left, yeah, you trade back. You trade back and you gain trade options for next year. You trade back and get a first and a second round pick for next year. That way you have ammo to go to the number 1 pick next year, right? And go get a guy who's much more guaranteed than any of the guys in this draft. Mm-hmm. Now, does that spell doom and gloom for this season? Maybe, maybe not. That's still up in the air. But as Colts fans, we're tired of this carousel at quarterback. We need someone long-term. And if he's making moves to secure that, even if it's for the future and showing that he's trying to do that, I think that keeps him in the seat. That shows that he is making moves to secure the future of the franchise at some point. That's a situation that I'd be okay with. That's the only situation, in my opinion, of why I would be okay with the Indianapolis Colts trading back. If they're sitting there and they're like, the only quarter of the top 4 quarterbacks, they're like, the only one left is Richardson, and they don't like Richardson. Or the only guy there left is, and I know a lot of people hate me for saying that, but it's possible, right? Or the only guy left sitting there at number 4 is Will Levis, and they're like, oh, we don't really want Will Levis, That's the situation where I'm like, all right. Or I have a hard time thinking that they would pass up on Stroud. Okay.
Right.
But maybe, Young is there and they're like, I don't want a clone of the quarterback from, the Cardinals, or something like that. If they want to trade back in that situation, that's perfectly fine. Build up that trade value for next season. That, in my opinion, like I said, is the only reason why they would do that. Otherwise, in my personal opinion, I don't think the Cardinals is trading back, like I said already. I think they're going to go after that defensive lineman. I think there's going to be someone there that they want, and they'll go get him. My goodness. Like you said, congratulations to Frank Reich. He's definitely going to get the quarterback that he wants. Yeah. It cost his team an arm, a leg, a wide receiver, and some hearing aids. But it cost him a bundle, and I hope it works out for him, Yeah. But there's no way that would have been a good move for the Indianapolis Colts. Not when we've got a team where there is a crap ton of talent on this team. And we're a few pieces away. We have some holes, I will admit, but a few pieces away, and we are a serious contender. One of those pieces, obviously, the most important piece, being that quarterback, right? Now, does that mean that we grab a quarterback later in the draft or we grab one in free agency? Probably both. Probably both. If that situation happens and we have to trade back, we'll probably have to grab someone out of free agency. We might end up sitting with Matt Ryan for a year, but they have to make that move by next Friday, right? Yeah. I mean, they have to make that move by next Friday, whether they're keeping him or letting him go. So we'll find out where they're sitting with Matt Ryan by this time next week. So
real quick, I just want to tell you guys, appreciate you being here, Lawrence. The view counter thing, is that a symbol of anything going wrong on the stream, or are we good? Because
no, we're good.
Okay.
It's just because we flipped so quickly. Okay.
That's fine.
It's not registering.
That's fine. I knew I could see the chat and stuff. I just want to make sure it wasn't a sign of something else might be wrong.
Oh, no. We are great. As a matter of fact, we have plenty of people sitting in the chat right now. I'm watching. It says notify me to go live, but it's showing it's already live, and we got 50 people in here. Thank you guys so much. As Van Albright says right here, smash that like button, guys. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. Thank you so much. Go click back where you was looking at. All right, yeah. And this is some of the thought process now. Okay,
okay, if you don't get your guy, like you said, and I seen somebody say that. I get it. A lot of you guys don't like Levis. If you went into this draft with only one quarterback in mind, I just be honest with you, I don't feel like you're evaluating the situation appropriately. Okay, because and that's just my take on it. Whatever, my 2 cents. But my thing is there's talent here. There's maybe this year, you sit there and you get a Hendon Hooker. Like it says, maybe in the second round, trade back a little bit, get a stud. I mean, Gonzalez, he's passed every test for the combine, his season. I mean, he would be a phenomenal pickup and would really put this old man's, concerns about that cornerback's, position a little bit more, to bed and stuff. But there's a lot of ways that this can still turn out. And this, and we're acting like, and I cannot stress this enough. Everybody's acting like CJ Stroud's off the table. I'm not there yet, guys. I'm really not. You know what I mean? Because is this a Frank Reich and Panthers move? Do you think that they really gave up all this? I mean, think about it. They took the best weapon away from the rookie quarterback to get their rookie quarterback. And do you do that, for a guy that you expect, CJ Stroud, that they say has a lower ceiling but a higher floor? I don't know that they do. Are they playing the long game? Are they looking at this and saying, you know what? I want a Will Levis or I want an AR-15. I get it. He's got to develop and stuff, but you know what? Is this the Panthers taking their home run swing? Like I said in the last video, I felt like if you took a swing at AR-15, you were trying to be the best, period. You know what I mean? You take CJ Stroud, you're trying to compete and you need to build, guys around him, and the thing is we just don't know. And everybody's acting like it's the end of the world, and it's really not. There's a ton of talent that aren't quarterbacks. Yes, you still need to get a quarterback talent in here because for me, Sam Ehlinger didn't show. Oh, I got to hit it now because it just popped up. Sam Ehlinger, he showed improvement. But does that mean that I even want him as a lock for my backup? No. Is he an option? Yes. Okay. But who sits there and says you can't take a Hendon Hooker who's a little bit long in the tooth, you know what I mean? But he's got more experience, and he will be, according to everything that he said and what we've heard at the combine, he's going to be eligible for OTAs and stuff. So he'll be able to plug and play. And I get it. For me, Hendon Hooker, you had the injury, you've got the age. It's not the ideal situation. But then again, if you sit there and you bring his kid in, you let him start, you may not have the greatest year. But now, to your point, Lawrence, you're going to have great draft positioning on 2024. You're going to have probably some assets that you've acquired through the 2023 draft and moving down. So there's so many ways this thing can go. And this isn't like Mikey Mendez, which isn't always the most positive of people, says he's sabotaging the team. I'm not there. You know what I mean? I
think you should get a raise for not falling into the trap of making that kind of a trade for a maybe. Is ridiculous. What the Panthers gave up for the number one overall. And I got a feeling, in my personal opinion, I think Frank Reich wants AR-15. I really do. That's who I think he's going after. And as you said, I don't see Stroud going to the Texans because of the whole situation there with, having his agent, being the same agent as Deshaun Watson's and that whole mess that happened. So there's still a possibility Stroud is there or Young. We might have Young or Stroud. I got a feeling that it's probably Stroud that will be there when the Colts pick at 4. Now, may or may not be there. Who knows?
That's it. I want everybody contractually bind to this. If that happens, I want you guys to come back in our post-draft show, and we're going to sit there and go, how you feeling now? Because I'm telling you right now, if we sit there and we don't give up all those assets and we still get the quarterback that all you guys want, or the majority of you guys want, then Chris Ballard's sitting there going, how you like me now? You know what I mean? And
right. So, and that it's funny because Ballard says it all the time. A lot of times he'll sit and wait and end up getting the guy that he wanted anyhow. He's traded back and got the guy he wanted anyhow multiple times, right? Yeah. And a lot of people are like, he just says that because it, tried to make himself look good. No, not with what I am reading and what he traditionally goes after. Those are the guys he goes after that he has drafted and said, that's what I wanted, even after the trade back. So
let's put it this way. I can imagine Ballard sitting there taking a drink Okay, when this news flashes across the ticker, and he just spits in his glass, and then he pulls his glass away, and he ain't crying, guys. He is laughing. He's laughing his backside off. Okay, I mean, I really do believe that Ballard is not going to sit there and panic. And the thing is you look at how he's handled things. He didn't panic when it came to everybody pressure. Get a coach, get a coach, get a coach. And it's still got to be proven. But I'm telling you, I feel like we might have gotten the guy. You know what I mean? We might have gotten a really top tier head coach out of this Patience. Granted, Matt Ryan didn't shine the way we wanted him to this last year, but how many of us were happy that Matt Ryan was our quarterback going into the beginning of the season last year? We're like, oh, okay, this guy's and I understand it didn't work out that way, but there again, the patience, waiting for some of the dust to settle down, and that's Ballard's style. And he's not going to panic. He's not going to overreact. I mean, he's not going to pull an Ursay and emotionally make these decisions. You know what I mean? Sorry, Jim, but I'm hoping you're back in real world now with the rest of us. But the thing is this is just, it's too early to sit there and act like the draft's already over. There's a ton of talent in here. We've got one of the best talent evaluating staffs for an organization. They're going to turn this into a successful draft. I don't know how. I'm not going to sit there and try to pretend, CJ Stroud at 4. I'm not saying that, okay? But I'm just telling you, they're going to work this out because that's what these guys do, okay? And they're going to work it out, and they're still going to have a lot more pieces, a lot more assets to be able to fill those holes, build this roster. And once again, let's not make this all a team about just the quarterback. Make this about the team and just plug and play a quarterback that has a cannon for an arm or has, you know, in Stroud, it can dissect you like a surgeon, you know what I mean? Or in Hendon Hooker, you know, he's a good leader, just bad timing with the injury. I mean, because let's be honest, Hendon Hooker, had he not been injured, the biggest downside that you would have with him was his age. You know what I mean? And the thing is I get it. It's not ideal, but let's just take a breath. Let's just take a breath. Appreciate you guys being in here.
Wyatt here says something very, I've mentioned it already. I don't think Arizona will trade back or grab a quarterback. I think they stay put for a defensive guy. It's something they absolutely need. Houston needs a defensive guy too, and they got a quarterback that's serviceable. I will say serviceable. I'm not going to say he's good or great, but he's serviceable. But they need a defensive guy badly. And there's a good chance we could be picking the number 2 quarterback in this draft. Not the 3rd or the 4th. I don't think there's any chance that we end up picking the 4th quarterback in this draft. I do not think the first 3 teams will be picking a quarterback. There's too much high-end talent elsewhere in this draft. I can't think of a time when quarterback went 1, 2, 3, and 4 ever in any draft. Ever. And it's not like this draft for quarterbacks is like a top-notch draft for quarterbacks, right? Mm-hmm. Just because we want a quarterback doesn't mean that every other team out there is going after quarterbacks and is out there to sabotage what we're going to try to do, you know? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, and the thing is if you guys follow my Twitter, if you've been on the Discord, where there's this long thread, you know, where you sit there and it's a long thread. It's like on like 4 or 5, but it's like they traded up for this quarterback, didn't pan out. Traded up for this. It is more common to do these massive trades and then that guy not to pan out than it is to do these trades and be successful. And now, does that mean that I'm against trading up for quarterback? No, not at all. But what I'm saying is you look at these quarterbacks, none of these quarterbacks are, you know, the just absolute home run hits. All these guys have short pros and cons. So to sit there and give up all that assets for somebody that you know you're still going to have to fix or work on, it's just, to me, it just seems a little bit desperate, but that's all right. Our team didn't do it, so I'm fine with that.
All right, I want to make an announcement real quick, and this is only directed at 1 or 2 or 3 people in the chat, so I want you to pause and listen to me very carefully. Do not be rude to other people in the chat. Do not be rude to the people here or us or anything of that nature. Vote your opinion, state your opinion, You don't have to be an ass doing so. Okay. If you do, you're going to get put in a timeout. And if you continue to do that after I bring you out of the timeout, I would have to ban you. So please be respectful. State your opinion. Feel free to do that, but be respectful to people. All right. Mm-hmm. That's all I got to say about that. Now, I want to talk to Franchise. Says, personally, I'm an Eagles fan and I love Steichen. First off, appreciate you. Mm-hmm. And we are happy to have Steichen. I'm going to tell you, probably 98% of Colts fans are really excited about the future of the franchise under Steichen. Now, what's encouraging is Steichen's quarterback history, and that's the reason why I think y'all are taking AR-15. Now, I wouldn't mind having AR-15. Mm-hmm. I just feel like he's going to go number 1 overall right now because that's something. I think it's either going to be AR or Stroud that's going to go number 1 overall because they're both those quarterbacks are in that Frank Reich like and love type situation, you know. I feel like he'll probably go after that because it is what it is. So we'll see if he's there. If he's there and we get AR, cool. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up 2 in a row on here. Tom's coming in with the facts, says glad Ballard is the GM of the Colts and not me, LOL. I appreciate that. And right here, this to me sums up the way I'm feeling the best. I was worried that the Colts were going to trade up because of the holes that we had. I'm a little bit more relieved. Now, doesn't mean that I'm not sitting there going, oh no, but you know, that's what the draft is. You know what I mean? Everybody goes in with their hopes and stuff. And yeah, Currency. Everybody's just a little emotional right now. And that's right. We just found out. It's sort of like, you know, sitting there getting a bad piece of news or a shocking piece of news, and you haven't had a chance to process it. But
I get it, and I understand, and I get that. But I'm just trying to tell people, calm down, don't be rude and disrespectful, you know, because that's not what Colts Nation is about. Okay, and I don't stand for that. I'm not that way. And I don't want my channel I don't want people to come in and feel disrespected by somebody else. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
And I appreciate that.
I want to respect everybody.
And I appreciate the heck out of that comment, Zero. I really do, because we enjoy the interaction and stuff. And we try to, you know, voice as much of your guys' opinions. But if, you know, thank you. We appreciate that.
I'm not yelling at you, I'm not yelling at you, Basil.
I know he's like, normally that's my job.
Those of you watching the chat know exactly the people who I'm talking to, and it ain't you this time, Basil. All right.
Basil's like, I brought my army. They got it. I'm going to just over here and watch them at work. Really appreciate you, Basil.
Interesting. Like I said, you know, if that quarterback's not there that they want to get, if by some weird reason what's left is not someone they want to spend the number 4 pick on, they have to trade back. We get an extra second round pick. Maybe we trade for, you know, second round this year. And then a first and second next year, right? Mm-hmm. Which would be phenomenal. Then we'd have 2 second round picks this year. And there's a guy that Robert Mathis, who I just had a recording with, that none of you are going to be able to see until next week, except for those of you that are part of my Patreon. $5 a month. Link is in the description. It is on Patreon right now. My interview with Robert Mathis. He said there is a guy that'll probably go late first, early second round, somewhere around in that general vicinity that he feels will be a breakout dude and someone that would be fantastic for the Indianapolis Colts to grab on edge, and then use the other pick to grab quarterback. Mm. You know, that's that situation, right? There's all sorts of things that can happen. So just letting it sit out there.
You're killing Tom. He's like, I won't say nothing. Tom's already seen it. So he's just like,
Tom's seen it.
But that's the thing.
No, I am DS again. I would not trade to go to 3 because I don't think the Cardinals is going to trade out of the 3rd spot. I think that would be a completely wasted amount of resources. I think the Cardinals are going to sit and grab a defensive player because it's a blue chipper. If you're going to go talent-wise, I think defensive line would go 1 and 2 over the quarterbacks, like overall real talent, like blue chip. That's where I feel, and that's where they need to be. That's where they need to go. So
Yeah, and I want to pull this up because this is absolutely right. Arizona was the second biggest winner in this trade because reserve currency says again, Arizona's asking price for that number 3 pick just went way up because everybody knows that the Colts are desiring a quarterback, and that's true. And I'll be honest with you, I still believe that we have to come out with a quarterback. But to your point, Lawrence, you can trade back. Guys, we've talked about it in the last show. Cornerback, defensive line. This draft has a lot of talent in those areas. Does that mean that I don't want to get a quarterback? No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is if you sit there, and I hope that this doesn't happen, but if you have to run with Matt Ryan again, okay, I guess, you know what I mean? But, if you sit there or you get a Hooker or, a McKee or, there's a lot of quarterbacks coming out here in the draft. Guys, that's a bet. You talk about playing on a big stage, not the ideal situation, but he's a winner. You know what I mean? He can come out here and really give this team some good leadership and stuff. Now, does that mean that 2024, I'm not looking for a quarterback again? No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is you can get somebody, and that guy could maybe be your backup quarterback once you draft high up the following year. So now you're sitting there with two, I'm not drafting him in the first round. But, man, the talent at edge, at cornerback is legit this year. And I get it. We need to fix our offense. There's some really dynamic tight ends in the draft. If you're looking for, something of that ilk, the receiver class it's not as good as it has been in the last couple of years. So, but there's still some really talented receivers. This thing is so close or so far from being figured out. I would be willing to bet you could probably ask guys that, the Daniel Bergers and the all these guys that break all this stuff down for a living. I could almost be willing to bet you could go and ask all 5 of them, Nick Baumgardner and stuff, what do you think the Colts are going to do? And they're probably all going to come up with different scenarios because there's so many options at this time of year.
Yeah. Mikey Mendez, he says Ballard wasn't lying about trading back. I said that back when he did the presser, right? I said, and everybody was like, no way. I'm like, if it falls that way, you almost have to trade back and utilize that, right? And that's a situation. He's not saying I'm definitely trading back. He's saying if the draft falls that way, he will. Because you got to utilize what is best for your team at that time. Don't pick a quarterback number 4 if it's not a guy you believe in. Mm-hmm. Okay. Don't force yourself into a situation that's going to put it even worse off than what situation you're already in. All right. So, there is potential for a trade back here if needed. I don't think it'll need. I think we can still get the quarterback and a quarterback that they want at 4.
Yeah. And Zero over here breaking my heart. He says, bro, next year we need, and I know it does make that harder if you have to get a quarterback. And I am so much on the Marvin Harrison Jr. train. So you're making me sad right now, but,
I don't see any chance we get Marvin Harrison Jr. next year. I hate to say it, because if we get a decent quarterback and we fix a few other things in this draft and free agency, I feel like we're not going to have a top 10 pick. We'll probably be middling. We'll probably be somewhere in the 14 to 20 range. That's the way I see it. And quite frankly, Marvin Harrison Jr. will be a top 5 pick. It just is what it is. He's the best wide receiver in college right now. So
you guys are killing me. We have a defensive show, and all you guys wanted to talk about was the quarterbacks. Now we're doing a quarterback show. I appreciate it, Larry Brown. I'm just clowning. But he says Josh Downs, Jalen High, Zay Flowers. There's a lot of talent, and there is. I've sat there and seen somebody talk about the interior O line and stuff, which is another position of need. There's just. This team wasn't a quarterback away. We've been kidding ourselves for the last couple of years saying, oh, we're just a quarterback away. I think we realized, or at least I came to the realization after last year, we need more than just a quarterback. Okay. So this to me now, I mean, we fill these holes up and stuff, and we don't get a quarterback, and you have to plug and play a Minshew or Jameis Winston or somebody of that nature, on a shorter deal. I get it. If you, like I said, there's just,
we need a dynamic edge rusher.
Yeah, edge. I mean, and they're in this draft. I mean, this draft isn't void of talent. The Colts fan base has just been so locked in on quarterback, which I understand because, I mean, we're tired of looking for a quarterback, and I understand that. But the thing is that I really believe in this organization. I really believe in Ballard. I know some of you guys are waning on that, and I understand because we want more for it. Chris Ballard understands that. But to sit there and act like he isn't aware of these things that we're saying and we're complaining about, I think he is, and I think that he will find solutions. I don't think that we're going to have a 2022 where we're just going to run with these guys. I think he learned his lesson that didn't work out so well on the offensive line last year. So
absolutely. Guys, I want to ask you, 55 of you in here, I got 25 likes. Could I please get you guys to smash that like button? And if you ain't subscribed, subscribe, because oh my goodness, you need to check out some of the guests that I've had on this show in the past couple months, especially the last few weeks, plus what's coming out next week. Guys, hit subscribe. Make sure that notification bell is on, okay? I understand a lot of you don't want that notification bell on because you don't want your phone dinging all the time, but you turn that sucker on for me because you don't want to miss when something comes up or when I go live. And I will be going live a lot more. My goodness, I went live twice in an hour.
I was going to say, today. I don't know if I can handle too much more. I know what you're saying.
But yeah, we got a lot of great content with free agency getting ready to hit, the draft coming up. I got all these guests that I'm going to be hitting. You're not going to want to miss a moment of what we're going to be bringing out. Okay. Dude, that's a good thing, right? Oh, Eric. No, that ain't happening.
Oh my God.
This is more likely to happen than Aaron Rodgers.
I'll tell you right now. This here, I just heard B-Ball coming down to West 56th Street. Aaron, I'm coming. He's a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. Absolutely. Did you see Tom Grossi's streams lately? He's like the darkness room because with the whole, he's like in a tent and everything, his lights are off. He's like, yeah. There you go. I wasn't aware of this. Cards have released Marcus Golden. See, and that's another thing, guys. There's still going to be some more cap casualties. So I mean, there might be somebody that you're like, holy heavens, they let him go. And
one week to get, and there's like 5-6 teams that are seriously in the red right now, which means they're going to have so many people just getting freaking dropped, right? Because of cap casualties.
All right. Well, hey, whatever it takes for you, Super Maxi Melt, we just appreciate it if that's what motivates you. Oh, mercy.
All right, guys. 40 minutes in. I'm actually going to since I didn't use anything last time, there are links in the description to go check some stuff out. I didn't do any of these on the last stream, so go check out Newsbreak. I drop a lot of good stuff there. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. Come check out the Colts Law merch shop. New items added every week. All sorts of items, from clothing to cups to cozies to backpacks, hats, just miscellaneous items that you can get around the house, even phone covers. Just check it out. Let me know. Send me a message. Hey, is there something that I'm missing? Go, feel free to ask. Have a good one. So I see the question over here. Will they make any moves in the first week of free agency? Probably not, because Ballard's not that kind of guy. He usually sits and waits for it to calm down to try to get deals. And a lot of times that works out really well. Look what we got Stephon Gilmore last year on a great deal. We got Rodney McLeod on a great deal. And I'm going to say this. 90% of you, including myself, thought the grab for freaking Matt Ryan last year was fan-freaking-tastic too. You know, didn't turn out great, but at the time we were really happy with the fact that we only spent a third-round pick to go get Matt Ryan. You know, and he wasn't that high in the money-wise when it comes to some of the quarterbacks out there. When you're looking at 40, 50, $1 million a year, you got guys like, Seattle just signed a dude for $35 million a year. The Giants just signed a guy for almost $45 million a year. So that's the situation. Ballard does do a pretty good job when it comes to finding good fits for the team. He doesn't jump early, because that's when teams overpay. And quite frankly, we don't have the money this year to overpay anybody.
Yeah, and the thing is this method is, and this is my opinion, I know that some people aren't, but this method has gotten the Colts a lot more advantageous situations than disadvantaged situations. There's been a lot of times where we sit there and then all of a sudden an injury comes up, more like, oh, thank God we got that money, when everybody was telling them to spend it. You know what I mean? I got to bring this one up from earlier, though, because, guys, if you don't follow Wyatt Law on Twitter, what are you doing? This guy, he's been on this hill now for about 6-7 weeks. I mean, he's been on the Hendon Hooker train so much that Andrew Moore from Horseshoe Huddle and him have a nice little bet. And I'll tell you right now, that the possibility of that coming to fruition is a lot closer. I think Andrew Moore's going, oh, no, what did I do?
We'll find out. Okay, so I want to talk Speed. What's up, Speed? Appreciate you being in here. I still got it. It's still chilling right here beside me. Right. Thank you. Says, how do you think Ryan would perform in this new regime if they went with Hooker at quarterback, kept Ryan as a stopgap? Look, we're going to find out in a week. I'll guarantee that. We'll find out if we'll have Matt Ryan on this team or not. And that will also, in my opinion, dictate what happens in free agency by a massive slot. Because if we get rid of him, then we're going to need a veteran quarterback back there. Because under no circumstances do I think we should keep Nick Foles. Period. End of discussion. He needs to go. Go. I think even with Matt Ryan costing an arm and a leg, he's got more of a shot of staying than Nick Foles. Okay, just because of his veteran leadership and knowledge. And the ability to, bring a guy up and teach him, because there isn't a guy out there. Like, let's say we get a guy who, their mechanics ain't that good. Matt Ryan is the epitome of mechanics when it comes to being a quarterback. Okay. He could teach somebody what the quarterback coaches couldn't teach. All right.
Except one part of his mechanics that was lacking last year, and that was squeezing the pigskin. But and that's the thing. I mean, to me, I'm not there yet. Matt Ryan would be, which I know that's not what you're saying, but to me, I'm like, I'm not there yet. If we're there, it's going to be a lot rougher. And then, but you know what the thing is at least like last year, I went in so much high expectations, and then Matt Ryan and the offensive line just lowered that all year long. Now this year, if I see Matt Ryan as our starting quarterback, I'm not going to have a lot of expectations, be a little depressed, and he'll probably reinvent his career again or something. The next thing you know, we're like, what is going on with this cat?
What? To be fair, we don't know if, what Steichen thinks of Matt Ryan. He's still probably the reason he hasn't probably been let go yet is because Steichen hasn't had a sit down formal time, hasn't had time to sit down with a lot of the players, right? He needs to know a little bit about Matt. He needs to sit down and have a conversation with him. He's been so busy over the past month getting himself, his staff together, let alone the players. Now he's getting around to getting with the players and stuff. So that's where a lot of these moves on who will be let go and re-signed and things of that nature. He's got to let Ballard know, hey, I want to keep this dude, or let's move on from this guy. So, yeah.
This is a good question I like. He says, DSG says, any chance we grab a younger vet quarterback like Ritter, Lance, etc., that has not yet to have their breakout? And I will say that I felt like we were going to get a veteran quarterback aside from if we draft CJ Stroud. Okay. I'm not sure San Francisco's out on Trey Lance. And if they are, they're going to try to recoup some of that draft capital because they spent near what Panthers just got done spending, to move up to 3. So I'm not there. Ritter, only way I can see something like that happening is if, Lamar ends up in Atlanta or something, in which case now you're looking at Ritter going. But even then, why wouldn't they want to keep Ritter for a young, safe backup?
He's only been around a year, so.
Yeah, So I'm just those particular names, but I'm more thinking of the more proven, whether it's, like I said, Jameis Winston or Gardner Minshew or I don't know, Baker Mayfield. No, I'm not excited about these names, but I'm just saying a viable quarterback that has experience, and at least then the team can sit there and have some leadership and not feel like, oh, we're tanking this season.
You know what? A lot of people sitting there talking about, well, Ballard is too stingy with his money. He doesn't want to offer these massive free agent contracts and stuff like that. And they're like, well, you can just push the money down. That's what people talk about, pushing the money down. Did you see what the Titans had to do today? Because they kept pushing the money down.
Yeah.
They released half their stinking team. All right. Because they pushed the money down, and now they're like $40 million in the hole. So they had to make up a bunch, right? Mm-hmm. Same with the Saints. The Saints, 3 years in a row, have been having to drop people and restructure, and they keep pushing money back, which is stupid in my opinion, but it is what it is.
And see, I agree with you. Why he says Ballard's going to sit tight at 4 and see what the lay of the land is on draft day, and if AR is gone, he'll likely trade back or a prearranged deal. And I agree with that, because the thing is, whether it's AR-15 or CJ Stroud, because to Lawrence's point, there's a strong possibility that a Levis or an AR-15 is what the Panthers want. I know that's not what a lot of people here in Colts Nation are going, but there is that strong possibility. Okay. But the thing is the only person I could still move in a chip would be Arizona. And the thing is it doesn't make any sense for them to trade right now because they're in the catbird seat. Now you're going to have this whole time to keep hearing all these panic, whether it's the Raiders that are trying to trade up and give up, or who's another team? The Falcons. Heck, I get it that they just got Ritter, but maybe they're not sold on Ritter. Maybe they're willing to give up a lot. All I'm saying is I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot more movement in the top 5 before the draft, for the simple fact that, they're going to benefit more by sitting on it and wait until draft night.
All right. So DS Goodbar, what's up? Says Jameis might be able to hit his full potential under Steichen, as gross as that feels to say. It's a good possibility. Jameis has shown some good play out there, especially with the Saints, Look, Sliberitas 1996 says this is not acceptable. We want Stroud, and we should have made a move for him. Replace we with I, because that's what you're saying. Okay? Because not everybody wants Stroud, and not everybody wanted to give up what it would have taken to take the number 1. But I would have been more pissed at Ballard for making that trade than not making that trade. If he'd have made that trade, this right here would have been an angry episode. I'll tell you that much right now. Angry as hell. Okay? I'd be cussing. Be the first time I've ever cussed Ballard out. All right? On air, live on YouTube. Okay? You don't give up that much for a coin flip and a quarterback. You just don't.
And
at least that's my opinion. That's my opinion.
And me,
if it's more of a shirt thing, then sure, but not on a coin flip.
Yeah, and me a little bit more. I would have been like a little disappointed that we gave up so much draft capital, but I would have been more because I do like Stroud. I would have been more. Let's see how this thing plays out. You know what I mean? I would have had to be
Well,
like,
what's shitty is, Ballard might not even, if he moved up the one, he might not even pick Stroud like what you guys want,
right, absolutely.
like what he said. He might have grabbed freaking Will Levis. We don't know, I mean, he might have been like, well, this is what Steichen wants, because that's who he would be moving up for is Steichen, right?
Yeah.
To get who Steichen wanted, not what Ballard wants. We all got to remember, this isn't just Ballard, right? This is Ballard and Steichen trying to figure out what to do to get the quarterback that Steichen wants. And he said it. Ballard said it. Steichen has a lot of say in this situation because this is his regime and he's trying to do what Steichen needs. So, at this point, if you want to place blame because the Colts did not move up, you can put it on Steichen as much as on Ballard. All right. I'm just saying.
And from like a Panthers point of view, here's where I'm at. I'm like, these guys just gave up so much to move up to that one spot. But now let's not forget, this is the same team that had to go through the same process. Not the extensive process, but they had to get a new coach. They had to get a coaching staff. How well did they really go through these quarterbacks and dissect their game film? How well or how positive are they that they even have their number one guy? Or was this just a move to say, you know what? I don't care who the number one guy is. I just want a guy. And they wanted that opportunity. And if that's the case, why? You know what I mean? So I question this move from the Panthers' perspective as a football fan. You know what I mean? And it's just, to me, have they really evaluated these guys? Have they interviewed them enough? Do they have enough FaceTime with these guys to know that this one guy is already their guy? Because to me, with what I've seen from multiple organizations, to evaluate these guys, it's a long process. You've got to interview them. You've got to put them in pressure points. You've got to dissect their film. You've got to debate over them through a group of talent evaluators. And then you've got to go back and recycle through the process. Did Carolina really even do that? Did they have the time to do that with everything else their offseason was? Which I get it. I don't know. I don't care. But it's just, to me, I don't understand making this move this early, unless the Panthers were worried that did all the Peter King and Ryan Pace, is it, for the Bears? Did all of their sales pitch actually get to that Panthers where they got?
I think the Panthers were the team that had made the offer in the first place of 2 firsts.
Yeah.
And then they upped the ante even more, because quite frankly, 2 seconds and DJ Moore is worth more than a first, in my opinion, by far. So they probably upped it even more, made it to the point where the Bears had to take it because that's I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. What I mean?
I like that one. That was a good one.
But yeah, here's the Titans. I just want to get back with the Titans because my boy over here was just talking. Tom said, he's just tired of losing to the Titans and the Jags. I think the Titans just fell off a freaking cliff. Okay. Because not only did they so they released Taylor Lewan, as we know. They released their kicker, Randy Bullock. They released Robert Woods, which is their only receiver that they had left. They released their center, Ben Jones. They released Bud Dupree. And Simmons is on the trade block.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
There is so many teams out there going, what if we go get Simmons? Please go get Jeffrey Simmons. I don't care. As long as you're not in the AFC South, go get Jeffrey Simmons. Okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't have to worry about the Titans for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. Just flat out. Jags, damn good team. Damn good. They've had a lot of good. They've been building talent for years. Last 3 years, they've been building talent. They were just short on coaching. They got themselves a coach. Peterson's a hell of a coach, and you could see that from what happened last year.
I did not think I'd ever see this phrase pop up on our chat. who the is Mel Kiper?
Yes, we still have Ellinger, Bill Barker. I did not click that, but yeah, we still have Ellinger. He's not a starter in my opinion. He's a guy who, with his play and the way he increased his play from what I saw from last year in training camp, while we was there in training camp watching him, which is what shocked me and Loyalist when we watched his play. We was like, this dude's actually gotten better. Don't know if he started potential yet, but he's definitely gotten better than what he was his rookie year. I think he's a borderline backup quarterback right now, and a guy that I feel comfortable keeping on the roster. But we still need a good vet quarterback there,
Will Levis is going to be hating on his girlfriend. He's like 3 words to explain Will Levis will be a buzz. Mayo and coffee. So you're all right with the banana peel eating, huh? I don't know if
I don't want to go get Jeffrey Simmons. He's going to cost way too much money, and we've already got 2 defensive tackles that are solid and we pay money for anyhow. No, nothing again. I love Jeffrey Simmons. Love him. I just don't want to put that. That'd be too much money on it. Talk about how much money we put on our offensive line. Jeffrey Simmons is going to command $20 million too, and then we'll have 2 $20 million guys on the defensive line, plus a $12 million guy and a $10 million guy, and we'll have the second or highest paid defensive line in football.
And all that without edge rushers.
Yeah, without edge rushers, right? All set in the middle.
I'm not sliding Quiddy or Dio or whatever, but
now
Dio is pretty much outside a lot more.
Exactly.
And he likes being on the inside on the first and second down.
Well, guys, it's been an hour. We've had a blast talking about how the Carolina Panthers gave up way too much to move to number 1. And the Bears got themselves a haul to help rebuild. Congratulations, Matt Eberflus. But I'm going to have to jump off here. I got some running I got to do here shortly. But appreciate each and every one of you. Quite a few of you been in here. We're running about 60 right now. Got 36 likes. Thank you so much. Please smash that like button if you haven't done so already. Make sure you subscribe. Keep an eye out on our stuff, because we will be having, like I said, that interview with Robert Mathis comes out next week. You don't want to miss that. Any final words?
I love this. We're either going to be roasting them or toasting them. And that was going to be the case no matter what. So that hasn't really changed. And I just because we're trying to get out of here. But there's somebody else in there that also sat there and says, I'm cautiously optimistic. And that's where I'm at. But you know what? That's where I was going into this thing. This puts an obstacle, but it's not a deal breaker. And I'm very excited to see how this all plays out, because let's be honest, we all have our own personal favorites and stuff, but none of us can sit there and say that we understand exactly what these guys are thinking. And we just appreciate that you guys were all here to join with us and enjoy our comeback tour for 2 episodes in one day. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you for not talking about the Mathis interview, because Tom Williams already seen it because he's a Patreon member. So he got to watch the Robert Mathis early this morning when I dropped it.
Tom, you owe me in Discord.
And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And as usual, I want you. Have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
If you're mad that Chris Ballard did not spend what the Panthers spent or more to make sure they got the first overall pick this year, my question to you is, do you go and buy something that says it's on sale even after they mark it up 5 times just because it says it's on sale? That's what my thought process is. All right. Have a good one.